Most of the stress and anxiety you're carrying has to do with the fact that you haven't been taught to carry good energetic boundaries. And this is super important for highly successful and highly sensitive women. In this video, I'm going to share the most important things you need to do to contain your energy so you can learn to come back to peace quickly in this crazy world that never stops demanding your attention. I'm Kathy. I like to call myself a transformation agent because I've helped women for the past 26 years clear out the clutter from their minds so that they can return to the voice of their soul to have peace, presence, and prosperity. So, number one, most women lack energetic boundaries. They might set boundaries, verbal boundaries, or disconnect from challenging people in certain situations. But energetic boundaries are different. And these, when you don't have them, it leads you to carrying drama and noise and responsibility on your shoulders, things that were never really, truly yours. And this means that your nervous system gets bombarded with global stimuli, news, stuff like that, things that really are distracting and kind of cloud your energy with static. So for our ancestors, it was very different because it took them weeks, sometimes even months to get the news. You know, they weren't receiving global updates constantly, right? You turn on your phone, you see all this stuff. And this causes information overload. Like you're getting more stuff in a day from the external world than your grandparents received in a week. And this is a leading cause of anxiety because we're being fed all the, in essence, bad news, the news that sells. I had one client, her name was Leah, and she practically trained herself to be prepared for bad news, kind of being on edge all the time. She was training herself to be prepared for bad situations, negative situations, and challenging situations in her life. And when she started working with me, the first thing I got her to do is cut out some of that noise, right? Stop playing the noise. Stop following all of these people who are regurgitating information on social media. Especially for her, it was Facebook. And but for you, it might be a different social media. And by simply starting with this, right, cutting out that noise, what happened for her is that her quality of life skyrocketed. She had much more focus, much more awareness of her intuition, much more ability to handle the challenges that were coming up in her life, right? Let alone the world. And most of the time, the things our minds want to get involved with when we have all the stimuli aren't even in our corner of the world that we can make a difference in. Sometimes they are. But often, you know, it's over in Gaza and you can donate some money to World Central Kitchen or something, but it's not like it's in your neighborhood where you can make a difference and actually see a visible change. You need to establish firm energetic boundaries, not letting your energy leak so that you can protect your peace. And I recommend using an app called Opal. I don't sell it or anything like that, but Opal helps put like time limits on social media and stuff like that. So you don't drain your energy in certain directions that really don't add value to your own life. They strictly limit the times you can be interrupted by calls, texts, or social media. You know, sometimes these drains are even people who are negative. And one of the simple things you can do is say, hey, I have an appointment now. I need to get off the phone. Okay. Or, oh, it's so good to see you. And I have a deadline. I'm having to get my groceries and run. Stuff like that, where it's just very simple and straightforward, and you bring your energy back to you. So setting timers for conversations with people so you don't leak energy in that direction. Remember, if something's truly important for you to know, you will find out. You can't miss what's meant for you. You aren't burying your head in the sand by doing this. You're actually containing your most precious asset, which is your energy. We could say time is number 2. If you say it's number 1, that's fine. But like, your energy is your most precious asset. All right? You can summarize the world's news once a week, asking AI or, getting a summary somewhere. But you don't need to dive into negativity every single day. So if you're struggling with setting this kind of boundary and you want me to personally support you in this and help you clear this or other internal noise, I work a lot with people who have anxiety, very high functioning individuals who, just have a little extra edge that they would like to calm and come back to center. So if you'd like that support, click the link below in the description to book a call, and we'll see if it's right for you. Now, even if you clear the noise, you might still feel that low-grade alarm that everything will fall apart if you stop worrying. Why is that? The reason for this is simple. You keep trying to pre-handle life, right? So being prepared for everything before it happens. Now, sometimes this is useful, right? If we're going to have a picnic, we want to remember the forks and the napkins and the blanket and the cheese or whatever, gluten-free bread, whatever it is, all right? However, vigilance is not what holds your life together, okay? Constant hyper-alertness for problems and preparing for those ahead of time, not healthy for your sense of relaxation. So this is another leading cause of anxiety, which is very prevalent in high-achieving women. I had a client named Jen, and she came to me exhausted, just like because she felt like her mind was always scanning for what could go wrong. And I could really relate because as a teenager and in my early 20s, I was really like that as well. Constantly looking for what might go wrong. And if you grew up in a childhood dynamic where your house was unsafe, you would have learned this as well. Now, my household was safe, but I learned to scan for what was wrong too. Now, she had anxiety because of this. Now, underneath that anxiety was the belief that if she wasn't concerned, she wouldn't be prepared. If I'm not nervous about it, I'm not going to be ready. And that's not actually true. I like to tell my clients the greatest thing to keep you safe is your awareness. And that, for most of us, comes from here or belly, right? Low belly or upper belly or chest, right? Not between your ears. That guy gets us in trouble, right? So during our coaching sessions, we looked at her history together, really, and discovered that every challenge she had lived through, she had handled them mostly with a sense of grace, with a sense of, hey, I got this, right? And not simply survived them. right? So she was able to see based on her past that, oh, okay, I can handle life as it comes to me. That's what I want to remind you, that you are equipped, like innately equipped. Stumbling over my words. Innately equipped to handle whatever arises in your life. Not always gracefully, maybe, but you can handle it, right? You can handle life as it arises. See, on realizing this, it became clear to her that there was zero evidence that she would collapse under the weight of anything that came her way. And her anxiety was simply because she was trying to time travel ahead, right? And fix all the situations that hadn't even happened yet, right? And what I like to remind you when I say you're equipped is you might not be equipped in this moment to handle the things that are going to arise 6 months from now, but 6 months from now, you will be equipped. You'll be there, you have your own inner wisdom, and you'll respond in the moment and receive the wisdom that's available. So again, I want to reiterate, you are capable of handling life as it comes your way. You don't need to brace for every storm. And if there is a storm, do prepare for it, right? But you don't need to brace for every storm because resilience lives in the present moment, not in future-focused worry. So when a challenge arises, you'll meet it with the wisdom and support available from yourself, from your inner wisdom, from the universe. Let go of the need to solve problems that haven't happened yet. Okay? Trust that you'll always be capable of handling the weather that arises, of weathering the wave as it comes, right? So you'll surf it rather than being worried about it in advance. If you want more insights on how to stay present even when things get demanding, click the link below and join my email list. I have a lot of tips for you. Once you stop worrying about the future, you have to face the hardest question. Who are you if you aren't constantly worrying? And who are you if you aren't constantly doing things for someone else? See, some of us identify so strongly with constantly working or worrying about others that you feel unsafe or even empty when you're still or you decide to focus on you. It can be very uncomfortable. Sometimes I have people who come to my retreats and they're so not used to giving themselves the space of relaxation. And by the end, they're thrilled that they've done it because it's like, I got to finally exhale, right? Carrying everybody, trying to micromanage them and make sure they're okay, right? When you let them go, your nervous system can finally oh. Now, a lot of people have their identity from that. They believe they only matter if they're being useful or productive for someone else. This is not a very good way to live. Okay? It's a very stressful way to live, and you're not recognizing your own innate value just by being. So I worked with a really brilliant, capable woman whose family and clients really loved her. They adored her because she made things happen. The problem was that whenever the quiet mornings came around, a strange emptiness would creep into her. She had challenges with not having things to do for others. So on vacation, it was very weird, right? She couldn't relax. If no one needed her, she was uncomfortable. And underneath the busyness was the quiet fear. Like, if I'm not producing, who am I? If I'm not doing things for others, if I'm not pleasing them, what's left? And this, I think, is more common than we think, especially among women. It's kind of like, if I'm not helping, who am I? So I got to her to do a little experiment. It was just sitting for 3 minutes. Like 3 minutes without trying to optimize, without trying to be productive, without doing, not filling the silence, and just see what happens. And you might like to try that yourself. Like, take 3 minutes, set your alarm on your phone, and just be. And see what arises. And if that's really easy for you, do 10. And 10 can be a little bit hard for those of us who are active and have like active minds. Like, try it. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was. For her, it felt super uncomfortable, almost even unsafe. Right? Imagine that, just feeling unsafe for doing nothing for 3 minutes. It's actually very beautiful for the nervous system. And so it was really uncomfortable for her at first, but as she did it as a practice, just kind of like a puppy sitting. This puppy wants to move and it wants to leave and it wants to get away. And the more it practices, the more easy it gets to sit and be there. And she realized nothing collapsed. No one had big problems from her just being. It's okay to not be productive for, an amount of time. And this led to her realization, all right? Sometimes when we get still, that's when the inner wisdom blossoms forth. And her realization was that her being is the true source of power. And that's true for you too. Your inner being, or your higher self, or whatever you want to call it, your soul, is the true source of power. Not the hyperactive need to get stuff done. Okay? Productivity was the overflow from being. That's what it started to become after she did this exercise. Prior to that, productivity was just like what was supposed to happen from between her ears, from her story, right? And once she started to connect to this, productivity was the overflow. So it's really important to understand that you're not a machine here, or something designed to justify your existence through achievement. You're a living field of awareness and love. Right? You are unique on the planet, and no one else in the entire universe has ever lived the life experience that you get to live. So there's a uniqueness. It's like your own artistic creation. No one else has ever gotten to experience the world through your eyes. So it's really special. It's like a beautiful flower. And this shift is kind of like a garden. A garden doesn't work to grow flowers. It simply exists in a state of fertility, and the flowers are the natural expression of healthy conditions, healthy soil and sun and rain. It's raining here right now, if you don't notice. Like the healthy conditions of the environment. So it's really important to let yourself have that environment that allows your life to blossom and your soul to kind of run this show. So when you anchor into the truth that your presence is enough, your doing becomes an expression and an outpouring of love, of loving awareness, rather than a requirement of belonging. All right? So many of us do in order to belong, do in order to earn love, instead of recognizing, oh, I'm already a field of love, connected to a field of love. I'm already loved, otherwise I wouldn't be here, right? I wouldn't have the breath. I wouldn't have my food that I have. I wouldn't have everything required for life if I weren't already loved, right? My trillions of cells are moving in harmony due to this field of love. So untangle your worth from your calendar. Untangle your worth from your roles. And allow yourself to recognize you're already loved. Allow yourself to just be. If this resonated with you, I have another video where I share a 1-minute tool to uproot anxiety. And I invite you to watch that video. It should be on the screen right here, right now. And also, if you'd like to go deeper, this is my life's work. It's really what I love. And I would love to hop on a one-on-one call with you. Because when we make some simple changes, like that garden, things blossom and it can be effortless. It's not about pushing. It's not about doing more. It's about coming into harmony with who you really are and allowing that to overflow into every area of your life, and big shifts happen with ease. So click the link in the description for that. We'll hop on a call and we'll make some changes together. Thanks for watching.